With the recent success from extraction shooter games like Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown, there were bound to be more extraction shooters on the way. We saw it with the success of PUBG and Fortnite and the flurry of battle royales that followed them. Now we are seeing so many extraction shooters that have just released or coming out in the near future that you need to check out if you like the genre, or looking for something other than Tarkov after their controversy. We've picked out 6 that we think you should take a look at, including some free ones. The first is a game that horror fans will enjoy with Level 0 Extraction. You play as a mercenary who's been sent under the ice of Antarctica to hunt down aliens and search for loot. It sets you into a dark atmosphere and hazardous environment with several different maps that will make you feel like it's in a completely different icy world. We're excited and interested to see how the atmosphere will be, because from everything we've seen so far it looks like it will be able to create that suspense and terror feeling. It reminds us a lot of the atmosphere that Dead by Daylight creates, with that misty and eerie sense that the monster could come out of nowhere. Most, if not all, the maps look like they're close quarters, which could lead to some long standoffs against some of the aliens or a few jump scares. You'll get to use a range of different gadgets and weapons like turrets and mines to assist you in your survival, and it seems like they're going for a less realistic route by including unique buffs for some of the consumables that you find around. A nice feature that they do have is if you do end up dying, you won't be completely out of the game and you can still help your teammates by becoming a surveillance drone. The most unique feature that they have is that you can play as one of the mutants and take on the human players. We normally don't see players being able to play on the same side as the NPC characters in extraction shooters, so it's an interesting feature to have. As a mutant, you still have a progression system, so after each raid, you can level up and improve what they call is their DNA powers, which look like their equipment, and you can get new abilities, increase your stats, and most importantly, increase the horror that you instill into the other players. You can work together with the other player-controlled mutants that you're paired with, or go out on your own and take down the human shooters. Level 0 Extraction only just announced their release date and is coming on the 6th of August to PlayStation, Xbox and PC. We didn't get the chance to play the open beta, which wasn't long ago, but if you did, let us know how it was in the comments. This next game is the first free game on our list, and it is the new Delta Force game Hawk Ops, which is the first Delta Force in 15 years, and the series is returning with a stunning edition made by a new development team. Out of all the games on this list, this game has the most content out of them all. Not only do you get to go through a remastered version of the original Delta Force game's Black Hawk Down campaign, but there's also a new campaign set 42 years into the future from the first campaign. There are other game modes that an FPS might have, and then of course there's the extraction shooter side as well. The extraction shooter mode is a real risk versus reward type that will allow you to take items and weapons that you work towards in other game modes, but then lose it all in an instant if you die while deployed. For those that played the original, it will be a nostalgia trip while also adding so much new content with an upgraded arsenal of weapons, modern graphics, and dynamic world among other features. The gameplay has been compared to games like Call of Duty, which naturally happens with games of this theme, but in this case it deserves that comparison because of the unrestricted and fast-paced combat that is similar to what Call of Duty has. You can use all types of vehicles and aren't limited with what you can do, so if you want to use boats, helicopters or tanks or whatever else, you can. The faster paced combat leads to some intense fights, which most of the other games featured on this list are much slower. In saying that though, you still need to be tactical with your approach. The devs have focused on trying to maximize the power of Unreal Engine while also creating a seamless experience from any platform that you play on, with cross-play and cross-platform progression. It doesn't have a release date yet, but will be free to play on Steam, Xbox and PlayStation when it does come out. A lot of the games on this list have a similar theme of a Middle Eastern or Southeast Asian battlefield, so we've included this game called Canyons, which is set in a procedurally generated post-apocalyptic world, similar to a Mad Max type setting. The main goal is to build a settlement for you and other survivors to protect yourselves from the zombies, giant bugs, other monsters, and the other people from other groups who roam the canyons. These groups will react differently to each other and provide you some of the best items in the game, depending on your morality score with them. There's character progression including stats and your very own crawler, which is your vehicle that you can deck out and upgrade with weapons and all sorts of enhancements to keep you safe while on expeditions. There isn't much footage for Canyons as the official trailer only just dropped, so it'll be a while before anything comes out, but definitely one to keep an eye on. The next on this list is another free option called Ark Raiders, which goes for an alternative world where a mysterious mechanized group called Ark invaded the world and have taken over it. Some were able to flee and start an underground colony which you are a raider for, and you need to go to the surface and raid Ark for their supplies and take out their robots and any other players that you might come across. It has a futuristic apocalyptic feel with different gadgets and robots that you can come across. Like most extraction shooters, it looks pretty tactical and the different robots will have unique abilities, so it could be difficult to take them down and infiltrate the Ark bases. Similar to Canyons, you need to bring back supplies to help build your colony. It's mentioned that there's a reputation style system between you and the traders of your colony that you will need to make sure you're bringing back supplies for them. It doesn't seem like there will be a colony progression system where you not only build your character but you also expand and improve the colony, but we could be wrong in that judgment. There's not much other information about that system other than that, so it'll be interesting to see the significance of the reputation system and how the colony works. It's being developed and published by Embark Studios, who also developed the finals and are owned by Nexon. The microtransactions in the finals were purely cosmetic, so they were okay, but with a different styled game it could be different. Nexon are known for having a lot of microtransactions in their game, so it will be interesting to see if Nexon will have any influence on Arc Raiders, but we'd assume not, since Embark are doing their own thing and they're just owned by Nexon. It currently doesn't have a release date yet, but will be coming to PlayStation, Xbox and Steam when it releases. This is going to be a bit of a controversial one, but we included Grey Zone Warfare onto our list. They surprised everyone by releasing out of the blue at the end of April, and the reviews so far have been mixed. On one side, you've got people that have really enjoyed it, especially from a casual player's perspective, while still keeping the difficulty there and making it not easy. And then you've got the other side that still haven't been able to play the game, and that's mainly because the game is in early access, so there are many optimization issues, bugs, crashes, and balancing that still needs to happen. But there have been regular updates to slowly improve on those issues. The performance-based issues are largely because the required specs are very highly demanding, and I don't think many people notice that before purchasing it. There are still other performance issues, we're not saying it's perfect, but we think most of it comes from that. But there's also others that have been able to work around it with tweaking the settings too. If you do have the right specs, the game and its 42km square map looks stunning with an authentic and realistic feel. Taking a deeper look at the gameplay, a lot of players are agreeing that it's styled more towards a casual player than some of the other extraction shooters like Tarkov is. We like its unique health system that ditches the traditional health points and moves towards a more realistic system where you need to identify your injury and fix it using the appropriate medical equipment, and if you don't have that, you'll be affected accordingly. For example, you'll bleed out from your wounds or have your aim affected because of your breathing if you get a punctured lung. This system means that your gameplay will have to be extremely tactical, and if you make the wrong move and get shot, it could cause some serious problems for you. Grey Zone Warfare also has an impressive number of loadout and customization options that remain realistic but also open the opportunity for you to modify the weapons to suit your playstyle. You can either find the attachments through looting or you can trade your unwanted items for something you need. When you first start, you get to choose a faction, but you must choose carefully because you can't squad up with players in other factions, and currently there is no way to change what faction you're in, and you'll need to restart your character to do so, which means all of your current progress will be gone. We recommend checking it out, but we need to reiterate that it is still in early access and does have some bugs, so if you're on the fence about it, maybe wait for a couple of updates and double check the required specs before buying it, as it is only on PC. Last but not least is Arena Breakout Infinite, and it will be free to play when it releases. Similar to Grey Zone Warfare, ABI focuses on realism and trying to simulate real tactical warfare and strategic battles. The visuals and sounds are impressive, and thankfully, unlike Grey Zone, it has much better optimization, and they've even gone a step further to add into their system requirements that they are working on optimization to improve it even more than it was for its closed beta. There are constant content updates with new maps, weapons, and different game modes for you to do, along with quests to complete during your time in the Dark Zone, which is the militarized restricted areas that you play in. We posted a short about this back in May when the closed beta was on, and a lot of you were concerned that it would be pay to win since it was a free-to-play game. From what we can gather from the mobile version, which has been out since July 2023, is that the microtransactions just speed up the progression system, and if a player pays for a gun, for example, and they die, they drop the gun and lose it, and the other players can loot them and take it for themselves. So you won't need to pay for anything if you don't want to, and can either take loot from other players or eventually level up yourself to unlock it. We can't comment from our experience though, that is purely from other people playing the beta and mobile versions. Continuing on with the closed beta, it seemed to be a great success, and people even named it as the best extraction shooter available at the moment. Arena Breakout Infinite also gained a lot of praise for its quality of life additions that it has over some of the other extraction shooters. For example, they have an I'm stuck button that lets you reset if you get clipped into the map and fix yourself so it doesn't break your game. A few other games have featured this over the years, and it is a great addition, especially for those games with some easy to get stuck maps. The overall reaction seems to be really positive, and we think it could be one of the most popular extraction shooters once it releases onto PC. There has been no release date announced yet for the PC version, but it is expected to release late this year or early 2025, and if you don't want to wait, you can try it on mobile now. That concludes our list. If it wasn't already obvious, all of these games were PvPvE like almost every extraction shooter ever. We want to know if you've played or are keen on any of these, and don't forget to like and subscribe to discover more new games to play.